Hello everybody, Van Zan here with a quick rant video about smartphones, or more specifically the Blackberry. Now I'm not the sort of guy who tends to spend a lot of money on phones, although I really do like my tech. I tend to put all my money into computers and laptops and desktops, and just tend to buy sort of relatively cheap non-smartphones, throwaway phones, pay-as-you-go rather than contract. But recently I was offered for nothing by a friend of mine a Blackberry. I don't know what number or model it is, but a Blackberry. Because a friend of mine was upgrading to an iPhone 3G, and fair play he did. I was very excited because these things have a great reputation, you know, in the business world and so on and so forth, and it's supposed to be one of the kind of front runners in the smartphone race. But I have to say, after having this thing for maybe 4 months, it is a piece of floundering, unmitigated shit. These are the worst, not only the worst smartphones, this is the worst phone I have ever owned for 100 different reasons. But as I said, this is a quick video, so I'll highlight 3 or 4. Okay, firstly, keyboard size. Now I'm a graphic designer. I have fairly slim fingers. They're not huge, they're not chunky, they're not totally skinny, but they're kind of, you know, average. And I'm a touch typer. I'm a Mac user, so I have, you know, quite a nice widespread keyboard, but I'm pretty good with any keyboard, and I'm pretty fast, and I can text quick on most phones. Now this thing, what's the point in putting a QWERTY keyboard this way when you have that aspect to play with? I mean, it makes the phone enormous. Now I don't mind that on a touchscreen phone like an iPhone, of course, because the entire front surface is a touchpad sensitive input device. Whereas this thing, it's this wheedling, pathetic, 3.5, 4 mil at a push per button setup. And when I'm doing text, and I'm trying to do text, should I say, it's probably 4/5 mistake and delete, and 1/5 actually getting the key I want, because every single time I press the button, and I'm not talking with my thumbs, I'm talking with the very slimmest part of my index fingers, I hit normally 3 or 4 of all the buttons all the way around it and then have to go back. So that's my first rant. Second is build quality. Now I thought these things would be built like Buicks, you know, like built like a house. As I say, some of my older phones are better built than this. This thing is, I don't know if you can hear that. Probably not. It's creaky and plasticky. It feels like it was made out of wheelie bin plastic, do you know what I mean? With this apparent chrome edge, which actually turns out to be a really, really low quality tin. I mean, can you hear that? That's vile. You find things of higher build quality falling out of cereal packets, I swear. Okay, thirdly, the amount of times I will pull this out of my pocket, or they actually, you know, this particular model comes with a kind of, you know, case thing, and it's got a magnet in it. And what happens is, when you put it in, if the phone is, say, on, it turns it off. See that? Okay, all very nice. But the problem is, when somebody phones me, every single time I have to phone them back, and I mean every time, because it goes bring, 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 I lift the phone out, and it turns itself off. It hangs up, I shit you not, every time. So I have to spend money phoning back. It's unforgivable. Fourth problem. It's got a little button there. Okay. Now I'm right-handed, so I hold the phone that way. Problem is, as soon as you lift it out, you press the button as you would, and you probably can't see what it's doing there. Can I make that out? It's now listening to me. I don't know why, because I've tried to get it to, you know, make calls with this, and it doesn't. It just hangs up. There it goes. Oh, and while I'm here, let's not forget, again, look at the size of the thing. I mean, it's vast. It's probably, 2 3/4 inches across and about 4.5, 5 inches long, and like 3/4 inch thick, man. This is not a light phone or a small phone by any means. Where's the camera? Dreadful. It's just shocking. Another gripe as well is the actual OS, the actual operating system on board. Now, I've had this thing 3-4 months, as I said earlier, but I can't make heads or friggin' tails out of it. I can get basic functionality out of it, like, you know, texts and things like that. But everything you have to do is sort of counterintuitive. You have to go round and around in circles 2 or 3 times before it spots what you've done, even if those 3 or 4 times you do exactly the same process over and over and over again. And then finally it goes, oh, I get it. I mean, seriously, the logic or lack of logic on this thing is more twisted than a dreadlock in a fucking wind tunnel. Browser. I'm not going to say the browser is slow. Okay. Facebook. I suppose I could go off and watch several cricket test matches while it's trying to access the web. Okay, I'll use my computer. The browser is so slow that, seriously, I could put in the URL of any given website and it would be quicker for me to walk there. All I can say is these phones must have gained this reputation, very undeservedly, but they gained this reputation of being this solid business peripheral, solid business tool. Obviously, when there was nothing else on the market, there were no other phones to kind of stand against it. And considering Blackberries range from about 180 to anything upwards of £450, I think this is one of the biggest rip-offs in the telecommunications world at the moment. And I'm sorry, I'm not going to have people going, oh, iPhones are up to 600 quid. Yeah, they are. But the features, they are feature-rich and they are easy to use. And I'm not being a fanboy, because ultimately I also prefer Nokias as well. I mean, seriously, not to put too fine a point on it, this phone is a nut. The one light, however, at the end of this otherwise entirely grey tunnel is that a very good friend of mine, today in fact, is perfectly happy to swap my present Blackberry for his current setup, which I believe is a Nokia. And that's incredibly sound of him, so we'll just see how that goes. And I so prefer Nokias. But anyway, if I wasn't actually going to be trading in for a new phone today, this probably wouldn't be a rant video. This would be a watch me smash the out of my Blackberry video. All I can say is, unless you are a sadist or addicted to that label, avoid like the plague. Anyway, rant over. Thanks for your time. Until next time, this is Van Zan, signing out.